Hello everybody, welcome to Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. I am your host, and today going to go through reality creation from the very ground up, right? But including everything, so when it's combined, you'll really see it from the top down. Here's the thing, it actually follows another question somebody asked me in the comments, which was remembering themselves as a version that they don't prefer. What's really going on there, right? The question was more in line with they are remembering themselves and a past event that they don't prefer, how to, using my teachings, unpack that and really move from being that. So let's just start there, right? But these are not necessarily my teachings. This is a expression of source from source that's being expressed through me, right? So I am choosing to tune into my own highest knowing and express that, right? That's what I'm expressing. It's our truth, right? Because everything we are experiencing is coming from our own point of view of awareness. So, starting. This is how we typically see ourselves, especially from an unconscious state. This is how we see ourselves, right? Sitting down, watching the screen, right? Maybe you're watching one of my videos. The power of thought that creates one of the previous ones. The 3D person viewing objects in the 3D world seemingly separate from itself, right? Just by the way, you might hear thunder. It's raining. Yeah. Yeah. 3D person viewing objects in the 3D world seemingly separate from itself. You're sitting on the couch. You're sitting on your chair. You're watching something on the screen, right? That's what we're doing right now. I'm watching the screen recording. You're watching the screen of the recording. That's what we're doing. We are experiencing a 3D version of ourselves, experiencing 3D objects seemingly separate from us, ourselves, itself, right? The 3D person experiencing separation from itself, right? It really is an itself because it's not you. This is the illusion that we perceive, right? A linear timeline of past and present and future that we remember and exist in and experience the belief of going toward, right? Past illusion. Maybe you're watching some fun thing and then, okay, that's finished, and then you put on a video and that's where you are now experiencing the video, and then you think, oh no, I'm experiencing a linear timeline of here, and at some point, whatever I'm doing will end and something else will start. Right? That's how we remember reality. That's how we feel it is. But remember, the past, the present, and the future, as you can see on the screen, exist in one go. It is the effect of who you are remembering yourself to be right now. So even though that future end frame exists in context after you watching something, right? In that picture, in any case, right? You can start at the end if you really wanted to. What's really going on is that this entire timeline, this entire reality exists in one go, and you experience it linearly to make sense of it. So, moving on. What we now understand is that, as you can see on the screen, past, present, and future experiences of this is one timeline experienced by one identity experiencing that timeline, right? Past illusion, present 3D is an effect of who you are now, who you say you are, and the future is an illusion that we think we are getting to, right? But it's all happening simultaneously right now. The timeline exists start to end of your entire life experience, giving context to the specific moment of the present experience in you as awareness. In you as awareness. Not the physical person watching the screen. In you, your awareness, right? That timeline is created from individual frames of an infinite number of pieces, individualized pieces, right? Of God being all of it, right? Already done and cannot be changed, only chosen. As you can see, right, no matter how many times I edit these pictures, no matter how many times I can change them, you know the original one that you saw exists in your awareness as it does. Obviously, if I'm rearranging it, it's another version, and reality is rearranging itself so we can experience that other version. But the in-between points also all exist as their own versions. That's how infinite reality actually is. That's how infinite infinity is, right? But whatever timeline you are experiencing, or even the changes, is only one timeline that exists amongst the infinite number of reality experiences that are within you, right? What you are seeing in the 3D is only ever going to be 0.00001% of 3D experiences versus the 99.99999% of awareness of all of reality that you have within you as awareness, right? You are experiencing everything within imagination. Now, that timeline that we experience, it's actually broken up into frames, individualized frames. I know I've only got 3 there, but I remember Bashar has a saying where even in a second, there's billions of frames that make up 1 second, right? But for ease, we're just using 3 to make up the experiencing of a timeline, right? The reality frames exist, and that timeline giving it context, but each one is essentially meaningless. It has no meaning outside of the frame that it is and the experiencing of said frame as it is, right? Each frame is connected only through awareness. The real you as awareness is stringing them together for an experience of that story that you are now telling. NevilleGoddard refers to this idea as the 4 mighty ones, right? 3 of them happen as you imagine, as you embody the imaginational scene, right? Producer, as in what story you're telling; author, the setting of the imaginational scene you are experiencing; and the director, how that imaginational scene plays out in your imagination. All done. Once you imagine it and you feel the fulfillment of it, as in you feel what you wanted to experience, and you just say, okay, I felt it, I am this now, that's because it's my choice, you are done. That part's done. Your higher self does the rest. As you can see, there's a perceived past and a perceived future in those 3 frames. But those 3 frames are the one that you imagine, right? That short little imaginational scene is what you imagine, but that scene is connected to a whole new thing, right? So the last one, who are you? The version of yourself who is now in that timeline, experiencing that timeline, right? The physical you as the actor moving in and as that real, in the real, and as the 3D reality, moving in and as the 3D reality with the assumption of your chosen reality being your experience. You've just chosen that timeline, that's who you are, right? Now, with the concession to 3D experiencing, you are aware of a 3D physical experience that you believe you physically experienced. This ties into that question. When you remember it, you believe you are remembering that physical experience, right? And that's not actually what you were doing. As you can see in the middle picture is where we always are now. The middle one is usually going to represent you, what you think you are, the present moment, right? And then obviously the other 2 are past and future. So what you're doing now, what you're experiencing yourself doing, what you think you're doing, you're sitting there imagining some event that happened in the past. So you imagine the event happening in the past, believing it's in the past, and you're still going towards some future, right? Maybe you think that past event is going to inform that future event, right? You started a video, you're going to watch the end of it. What are you actually doing? You are creating that experience right now as awareness. You are infinity, the yellow. You are the yellow thing. You have a focused viewpoint of awareness, the red block. There are other points of awareness, consciousness, blue and the green ones. I've only got 2 there, but understand this is only a depiction. In reality, there's no size difference in these things, right? Remember, the yellow block is infinity. I can't necessarily draw infinity. Infinity is being drawn, right, as reality itself. That infinity is just conscious in an infinite number of ways. So obviously that blue and the green is other points of consciousness that exist in and as reality. You are not experiencing reality as consciousness through those other points. Everybody else is, right? You are the red one, the dead center of your reality. No one has any free will in your reality except you. That other point of consciousness has its own experiencing of reality. But in every single moment, we are spontaneously superimposed with everyone else, with every bit of consciousness always veering off, but always being where it is, right? It's a superimposed experience where every single intersection is experiencing infinity consciously from its own point of view, veering off to where it decided to go and who it decided to be, while never leaving that point of intersection for eternity, because you are awareness and all of that's happening within you simultaneously, right? I probably said it in a watered down way on top of that, right? So, but that's who you are, right? You are that focused red viewpoint, right? That focused viewpoint can be and is already aware of every reality, story, identity, universe, and everything that it can possibly be, and also being it simultaneously. So everything that is the yellow block is happening in the red block. But the red block is only being aware of what it's currently being aware of. Everything in the blue block. Everything in the blue block is everything in the yellow block in the blue block. There's no size differential. There's no difference between these things. There's no one block has more things than the other because it's bigger. There's nothing. There's just the depiction in how we can understand it, right? You are everything, and everything is in every point. That's about it, right? So, what actually happens when you remember something? You are focus and power itself. So the red awareness, the one that is with that greater awareness, the one that is one with the greater awareness, shifts its viewpoint and starts to literally be your desired experience, or whatever you are contemplating and remembering right then and there in the moment, right? Because that focus, that red block, is focus itself. It literally just focuses as a choice on what it wants to be, and then it bees it. So the entirety of that reality, the entirety of that timeline is now in that awareness of it. And the awareness is actually being it. But you're only being aware of the frames that you are currently being aware of, but your greater self, your greater I am awareness, is being the whole timeline in one go, as a choice of who and what you are embodying to be right then and there. So if you're remembering another version of yourself, what you are actually doing is recreating it then and there in the moment. Now, the experience you are having within your awareness of that physical past is you as awareness creating and experiencing that story brand new from a new you, believing it is a past memory. So you're not actually remembering the past. You are recreating a variational experience of it. So you were never the version in the physical experience that you believe you experienced, or the version you are remembering right now, or the version of you that is remembering it in imagination as well. So I'm just breaking it down to three there: the version that you experienced physically, the one that you are remembering experienced it physically, and the one that is choosing to remember it now physically. Right? You are none of them. This is being another version of yourself. There are infinite versions of that story that you can remember, but you are awareness recreating it each time, remembering or trying to remember it correctly, believing it is true. That is why this idea of trying to fix something way back when doesn't matter, because you're going to remember it broken an infinite number of times, trying to fix it, experiencing the fixed version of it an infinite number of times, whereas you can skip it entirely and just imagine whatever you desire to imagine in the assumption that this is who I am now. So all of that fixing and doing and whatever else doesn't matter. Even if it comes up again, it doesn't mean you are creating it. It just means that I remember that story that I have within awareness. It's no longer my choice, so who cares? Right? Frankly, it is actually that. Right? Now, when you remember yourself to be the consciousness, the conscious creator that you have always been, you will be aware and decide to accept that any story can be told from that awareness center of who you are, because you are infinity. And if you can assume, imagine, or affirm a certain story, it exists as an arrangement in and as infinity, because you are one with all of it and you are the creator of it. You are the creator experiencing its own creation from the best seat in the house, which is in it. That's it, right? So as you can see, you are awareness, and there's an infinite number of reals that are just available to you to imagine at any single point. That's why revision works, because if you can imagine a timeline from any single point, that means the whole timeline of it must be available to you. So when you're doing revision or revising, as NevilleGoddard says, which is imagining a past event in your preference, you are just shifting to another timeline where that preference was your reality. When you're imagining your future end, desired end, you're imagining that timeline from that side. But you're always imagining as the true end, which is the identity that experienced that timeline. That's who you are. And yeah, understanding completely that sometimes you have things in the physical reality that make you, or rather you choose to believe that because of this physical aspect of reality, I am in that timeline. No. What's happening in the physical is also a superimposed moment. So when you are imagining something, it's not about you denying where you are in reality. It's about realizing that the physical expression and appearances of whatever don't determine the timeline and of reality of the story you have now chosen to live in and as. Because that timeline consists of the timeline that you choose to experience exists everywhere with every frame. It doesn't matter which frame you're in, your timeline exists, and simply imagining it as a choice is now who you say you are. The appearances don't matter. So you are awareness. And who and what you are conscious of being, who you are imagining yourself to be, and what you are imagining your reality to be, who you are assuming you are and affirming yourself to be, who you are choosing to be, is calling forth that arrangement of reality as your reality. Your experience of reality is now that regardless of the individual changing frames of reality. Remember, every frame is individual, but every frame is one with you. So you can experience a frame that is not your preference, but you understand that it isn't your preference, just part of the experiencing of reality. It means nothing. Yeah, I said this already. It means nothing. You just go back to your end, remember your choice, or choose again, whichever one. It's the same thing, right? So when you imagine, remember that what you are actually doing is imagination, as imagination itself is calling forth a brand new universe that you, as awareness, is completely being. No conditions, no circumstances, no requirements to be it. Right? Because conditions, circumstances, and requirements ends up with you imagining those same circumstances, conditions and requirements, and imagining how to fix them. But now you can see that is just another reality, another timeline, another version. You don't have to do anything with those thoughts. You don't have to do anything with those beliefs. You can just leave them there and say, I understand all that stuff. Almost say something else. All that stuff is there. All that stuff is just there. All those frames are just there. All those stories are just there. I, as awareness, know that they just exist within me. They don't do anything. I, as awareness, am going to imagine what I desire to be, my desired end. That's it. I'm going to feel what I wanted to feel and let it go to my higher self to unfold the rest of it, backward and forward, assuming that that's who I am right now. Calling forth a new story that appears in your awareness and unfolds immediately as your 3D experience that you are experiencing from within while it is within you. The real you, right? And here's why circumstances don't actually matter. Each frame is unique on its own, even if it's part of a stream of experiencing, because every moment you can remember yourself to be I am, and as that I am, making a choice of who you are changes the entire stream of reality you are living. see those individual frames, right? In the grand total of I am awareness, we see them separately, but they are not separate either, right? They are superimposed onto one another as one complete singular reality where you can shift in any moment, and you are doing so even if the stream seems linear, but they're actually just compacted onto one another, right? It's a vertical, never-ending vertical experiencing of all of it, and you are creating all of it in every single moment, right? So every single point is connected, and you can shift in every moment, and you are doing so. See those points of intersection. I have it linearly like that, but imagine this is very hard to, actually no, not really. Imagine all of those was in one block, in one point. Imagine all of that one point. You see what those red points are? They represent individual frames of your individual experiencing. Every one of those frames is connected and connects to every other version and timeline of reality. That means from wherever you are right now, you can be anywhere else. You can unfold into anywhere else. You can imagine yourself directly where, who, and what you would like to be doing as your preference, and know that the appearances of reality will literally rearrange itself via your imagining of it through this bridge of incidents that we refer to from any point, because they're all disconnected. Every arrangement exists and it's all within you. So imagine a new story, knowing it's new, and when thoughts pop up, know that it's because it's all just within you, no longer your choice. That's why stuff pops up, because it's just simultaneously within you. That's why stories can pop up randomly in your thoughts. That's why you can see a version of reality or experience a version of reality you don't really care for, or it's not your preference. That's why fighting against reality makes no sense even, right? Even if you feel that, even if you feel anger, if you feel annoyed, you feel depressed, you feel this, you feel that, it doesn't matter. It's all just one with you, and your choice is the stream of reality that you are living. So I was curious to see how long that was going to take. 20 minutes, but like I said in the previous video, and I'll say it again now, the time doesn't determine the video. The video is an experiencing, and we get the unfolding of what we refer to as time as the byproduct of it. See, I had no idea how long this was going to be, but this version of reality, this video that exists right now, is whatever time that it is in an infinite number of ways created by our own awareness and source infinitely, right? So, answer the question there. Hope you glad. I loved making that. I really did. It was fascinating, especially that I'm gonna go through it again and again and again, and I know each time it's going to be a little different and more fun. That being said, thank you all for being here. Much love. Truly wonderful comments in the past few videos. A lot of people sharing, liking, discussing, following, subscribing to the channel. There's such a beautiful comment on the channel as well. So thank you for that, truly. Much love, much light to you all, not just the person, not just the people that are commenting, to everybody. Really, it's well appreciated, truly. Thank you for it. And thank you for joining the TikTok page. Thank you for joining the Facebook page as well. New people popping in there all the time. And much love, much light. I will see you all in the next one.